time for dessert. We have a really tasty treat in store for y'all, and this is called pudding in a bag, also French pronunciation, le poutine. My French is terrible, so I hope any French speakers out there will not think too poorly of my pronunciations. This is a dish that traditionally would have been served, family Sunday dinners, but also through the holidays. So, there's a lot of Catholic roots in Métis tradition. So during Easter and especially New Year's, this pudding in a bag would be cooked and served for the whole family. So pretty simple ingredients, and we're going to walk you through just kind of the steps that go through it. It's a really old school dish, but really tasty, and it's kind of got some home cooking feels to it. So
it does.
Our first start is we have 2 cups of flour. Then we're going to take, about 2 teaspoons of salt. Mix all our dry ingredients first in a bowl. Then we have 4 tablespoons of teaspoons, yes, baking powder, and then some spices as well. So what do we got in for spices?
We got some pie spices such as nutmeg, cinnamon, cloves.
Great. Then we have about a cup of brown sugar, and you could use white sugar if you like as well. And also you kind of go to taste. Great. Then you can use any kind of dried fruit that you'd like. So here we have raisins, but you could use currants or berries, Saskatoon berries, blueberries. Mix them all in there. And then traditionally it would be lard or suet that would be used in the bowl, but we're going to use butter for this one just because we like the taste. And it's first, we'll mix all the dry goods together. Just give it a nice stir. So this wasn't a dessert that we grew up with, but it was interesting when we were preparing this for the program. My father came home from work, and we're just getting ready to serve the pudding in a bag. And what did he say?
Oh, well, he walked in, and we were actually just taking it out of the pot, and his face just sort of dropped. And he said, "My grandma used to make this." And he said she made it every Sunday. And so he was very excited about that. And he actually had 2 pieces, and he's not a dessert fan too much. He tries to watch what he eats. But yeah, he really enjoyed it, and it was a good memory for him.
Yeah, it was really cool. You could really see him kind of reliving some of those family memories.
Yeah.
And his grandma, Adelaide Van Dale, she was the last in our family to be Michif speaker, and also the last person in our family that had Métis script. So pretty cool to know that she was also making this pudding in a bag for the whole family on special occasions.
Yeah.
So.
And every Sunday the whole family would go from St. Albert to Grandma and Grandpa's farm, and they would have dinner. And this was one of the desserts they would have.
Yeah. So here we have, we're using butter. Traditionally would have been lard or suet. This will work just fine for it. So the dry ingredients, they're all mixed together. And then we're going to put in the fat now. I would have used maybe like a pastry cutter, or you could use a fork, but my mom is all about using the hands, right? You got to dig in.
The hands.
So how do you do it? Show me how it's done with the hands.
Okay.
Get it in there.
I'm a hands girl. Yeah, I just find that with the pastry cutter and whatnot, it just takes a little longer. This is a little faster, and you just get the feel of it.
And it's true, you don't want to do it, overdo it, right?
This one's okay because it has the baking powder. It's more the pastry that you have to be careful with.
So you can see we've been boiling our water as well during this period. And this is a slow dessert, so it's going to take about 3 hours for this to cook. And once you see it served, you'll see why it should take that long. Because if you cooked it really fast, it needs to be like on a slow boil. If you cook it too fast, it'd just be really hard, but it's really moist and delicious once you give it that time.
Yeah.
Why is it called pudding in a bag? Well, you do cook it in a bag. Some people in more modern times can use a plastic bag, or you can use a suet bag. Some people I've seen in some demonstrations of it that it's cooked in a tin can. For ours, we're gonna kind of do what my great grandma used to do. She would use a pillowcase or a tea towel. So we have a very clean pillowcase. Please make sure you use a clean one. And what we're gonna do is first we're gonna wet it. I'll get that going while you're working through there. And then one of the last ingredients we're gonna need is, this is about a cup of milk. We're using whole milk, and we'll slowly pour it into there, make a little hole in the center, and then pour it in and slowly work it. So leave that to Mom.
You can do that, or I can do that.
I'll wet this.
Okay, so you're gonna take the milk, and you're gonna make a little hole in there, and then you're gonna pour it all together and just mix it all up. I would say that probably traditionally this came over from the European settlers, like the plum pudding.
Bundt cake kind of style.
Yeah, so there you go. You don't want to over-mix it. It definitely has cake consistency during the time that Jordan's grandma was cooking, that they didn't have inside ovens. So a lot of the cooking was done on stovetop, and it was done outside. So it'd be a pot of boiling water, and yeah, that's I guess the reasoning behind putting it in the bag.
So we have our bag all laid out on the table here. This one is an old, clean pillowcase, and it's been wet. Water's been squeezed out of it, so it's damp. And the next step is you're gonna wanna take just, not too much, but just a little bit of flour and just kind of coat all around on the bag here. It's gonna create a barrier when you put the dough in. That'll be like a little case that'll hold everything in. Wanna do it ever so slightly. Just get enough in there. Oh, maybe too much. We'll see how it turns out. I just, I'm not gentle enough.
Yeah, we don't want too much flour because then it's going to be mucky on the cake.
Right.
So we want to make sure that it's good like that.
Great. So you don't want to over mix. There we go. Just want to get all the little strains of flour out of it there. So, there you are.
Come on, Jordan.
Oh.
That's 2 last bites.
Okay,
of
get
cake.
it in there.
Get it in there. There
Great.
we go.
So there's our uncooked pudding right there. So next we're just gonna have a little bit of butcher's twine, and we'll tie this bag together. So we'll grab the ends of our pudding bag, just like that, nice and neat. And you're gonna wanna leave just a little space in between there so it has a chance to expand while it's cooking. So a little turn, and then it's always good to have a helping hand.
Yeah. And definitely leave that little space because it does have baking powder in it, so it will expand.
So the next step after this is that we will boil this, and the key is leaving that lid on for as long as possible. Try not to peak.
Try not to peak.
Yeah, make sure it's nice and tight.
So we have our pot boiling, but we don't want to boil the pudding. We want it to simmer. So we're going to turn it down to low, and we're going to lift the lid, and we're going to put the pudding in.
So you're going to put it in there. It's okay, it'll float a little bit, and you just want a little bit of the edge hanging out there.
Keep it stable,
Great.
and there you go.
Then you just set it and forget it. So 3 hours.
3 hours. Yeah.
And the next step after that is just before serving, we're gonna make a little bit of icing sugar sauce that will go over top of it. It'll be really delicious, so. Great. So time for dessert, and our pudding in a bag is almost ready. We just need to make the sauce. So we kick it off with a little bit of...
Well, a cup of hot boiling water, and into that I'm putting in 2 tablespoons of butter.
Great. Then we have just about half a cup of sugar, brown sugar. We put a little cinnamon there just to kick it up a notch. That's followed by, maybe what is that? An ounce of vanilla extract. And we have a little bit of cornstarch as well, but we'll get to that at the end. So,
so
we'll mix these in.
Sure.
And then a little bit of the vanilla. And we'll put it all in there. There we go. Make sure that's all melted together, looking good.
Yeah, and this needs to come to a boil.
For those who haven't worked with cornstarch, it'll thicken up the sauce a little bit. You'll want your the liquid boiling to activate it to start thickening up. And I'm always really careful with cornstarch because you can easily overdo it and then it just becomes a brick. So you just, first you mix it in with cold water and like it's a little slurry, so it's all good there. Make sure it's all mixed in. And then we'll go little by little until it starts thickening up. So once that's boiling. Smells good. Pour a little in there and stir. Okay. All right. Woo! That's a good looking bag right there. Thanks, Mama.
Okay.
Woo! Let it drain there. Okay. Now when it comes out, it doesn't look very appetizing at first. So there we go. That's it. All right. So the consistency when you first see it is a little, for your first time, could be alarming.
Let it sit for a minute.
When you open it up, it's this delicious, soft cake in the middle. It'll be very delicious with an icing sugar on top of it. Now the most important part, you gotta have your sauce with the put it in a bag.
Yeah, so it's a brown sugar and butter sauce with a little bit of vanilla in there and water.
All right.